What's up, everybody? Finally figured this thing out. We got the Prison Talk Live going. So if you got any feedback you want to share with us, go ahead and holler. I did a little something on Instagram and Facebook for you guys, but I know a lot of people didn't get to see it because it wasn't on YouTube. So if you got any input, feel free to hit us up and let us know what you think. I want to say what's up to all our fans out there, people who have subscribed and people who support our channel. And if you have, if you haven't told family and friends about our channel, please do so. And give us some feedback on what you think. You can email us at freshout at gmail.com. Also, you can, send us a message on our YouTube, which is Fresh Out Life After the Penitentiary, and let us know what you think. If you got any questions you want answered, you want some feedback on anything to do with, prison life, hit us up. Fresh Out is basically about guys, ex-felons who have done time, telling their stories, sharing what they've been through, their life experiences in prison and after prison. So more or less when you've seen Lock Up or, some of these other shows, those are guys inside prison. But what happens when those guys get out? What are those guys, what are they dealing with? What are the transitions they have to make after doing 5, 6, 10, 20 years, getting back into society and trying to get a job? What's that like? Well, that's what Fresh Out does. We actually talk to those people and have them share their day-to-day experiences trying to get back into society. So that's the insight that we offer as far as what, ex-felons being released back into society and giving them feedback on what it's like as an ex-felon trying to get, employment, trying to, build relationships with family, all that stuff that, people take for granted. So we also have FreshOutSeries on Twitter and on Instagram. So if you want to check us out on Instagram and Twitter, feel free to like our page and, support our videos on our pages, and also tell your friends about it. We're trying to get up to 100,000 followers on Twitter and Instagram, and we're trying to really, give you guys some great feedback so that you guys could, get some insight on really what's going on with ex-felons trying to get their life together. My background is I've done over 10 years of time in the system, from juvenile hall to California Youth Authority to the federal pen. I've been through the system. I don't speak on nothing I haven't experienced. I don't brag about it. I don't try to glorify it. I just try to keep it real and give you guys some positive feedback so you don't have to go through what I went through, because there's nothing fly about doing time in prison. A lot of people want to brag, or, a lot of rappers talk about jail like it's cool. Well, there's nothing cool about doing time. Doing time is really some bullshit. I did it, because I basically had no choice. I did what I did, and I had to do the time. Ain't no need to cry about it. I don't ask for no sympathy, no pity. Whatever I got myself into, it was by my choice, and I just handled my business once I got there. So, I just want to say that I bought into something that basically took a lot of years of my life, and it took me changing the mentality I had in order for me, in the way I looked at life, in order for me to change who I was as a person. Because a lot of times you gotta recondition yourself. You gotta change the way you think. You gotta change the things your principles, the things that you follow, because it's, that's the only way you're going to change your reality. You got to rehabilitate yourself. But if you want to see more of my story, you can go to www.freshout.com and check out my story. You can also see my story on Fresh Out, Life After Penitentiary on YouTube. So our channel has all that. It has my story. It has a bunch of other guys' stories. And, you can get some feedback and see what it is, people have been through, and what are some of the challenges you're faced with as an ex-felon. It's a hell of a situation, man. After you've been in the system for half a decade or a decade or more, and you're trying to rekindle relationships with family, it makes you really think about which a lot of times what you've taken for granted. So it's a hell of an experience, but we get feedback from everything from COs to guys who have been in the system to we even had a couple of college professors reach out to us as far as looking for insight on just what type of mentality it takes to make a positive change, because everybody always wants to know, does jail rehabilitate you? Well, you have to rehabilitate yourself. It's not, there's programs in there, but a lot of it's bullshit, because if you don't want to take the time to do something different with yourself, then you're not going to change. It's basically up to you to make the decision to change your life. And it's no different than being on the street, but in there, you're actually forced to think about what it is you have to do to make a difference. So, a lot of times people just do time and they don't think about this. So when they get out, they do the same shit. And that's why you have a lot of recidivism and basically a lot of repeat offenders. They become institutionalized, and, jail becomes their home. They actually, they get accustomed to that lifestyle, and they're cool with it, So, being on the street, a lot of these guys, have responsibilities. And in prison, toilet paper, your 3 meals, a bed, all this stuff is, provided for you, so you don't have to think about it. But on the street, when you have kids, you have family, you got a lot of responsibilities, man. So it's easy just to say, oh, I fucked up, or I pissed a dirty test, which a lot of times these guys do this stuff on purpose to escape having to deal with responsibilities. And it's a easy way to make an excuse to kind of cop out, so you don't have to think about your things you need to be doing. Let me see. We have somebody asking about, a lot of people in gangs in prison do not agree with the ideology, but it's better to have a crew to back you up. Well, it kind of depends on what kind of time you're on. I mean, a lot of people join prison gangs because in numbers you feel more secure. And if you're grouped up with a group of people, then if something jumps off, you have protection. And then if you were banging on the street, you get to prison. If you got homies that are in gangs in prison, then you got to have their back. So you just transition into that same gang in prison, and now you're part of a prison gang. So, I can't really knock the dude who's in a gang in prison, because sometimes you have no choice and you're kind of like obligated. But as far as doing your time and just basically trying to better yourself, you have that opportunity too. So, it all depends on what type of time you're on once you get into prison and what you choose to do with your time. I mean, I know dudes who are gang members, but they were cool dudes. They were about their business, and they weren't just doing stupid shit. They were in there actually politically keeping things in line among the other races and among the other gang members. So, everything serves a purpose. What gang was I in? When I grew up, North Highlands was a Crips. So, basically my neighborhood was a Crip neighborhood. I had blood homeboys too, though. And when it came time for funking, it was blood and Crip. We were family. My big homie's a blood. Some of my other homies is Bloods, but at the same time, a lot of my guys I directly kicked it with were Crips, so it was all about the Cripping. But at the same time, we had more of a neighborhood unity rather than gang. We didn't fight amongst each other. It was family when we came together. So that's what that was about. But moved on from that and realized that I had other things I needed to accomplish in life, so I kind of put that to the side. Oh, shout out to 405 Big Herc. Yeah, for sure, man. Were you, somebody always want to know about busting cheeks, man. Nah, motherfucker. Wasn't busting no male booty, Female on the street, yeah, but wasn't nothing that going down in prison. I looked at a lot of fiend books, and that's how I passed my time. I used to look at the old Buttman magazines. So wasn't no booty busting up in there. Do I still talk to people in prison? Oh, yeah, for sure. I got homeboys I write up in there, and they can email now, so I respond to emails. I got guys that be texting me sometimes. I try to show that love because I know how it is up in there, being able to communicate with somebody from the street. So I do stay in touch with a lot of my homies that are still locked up. Do I know how to crip walk? Somewhat, but not like, what you see Dub C and some of these other guys doing. I mean, everybody has their own style. So, I used to do my thing, but nothing to that degree. What was my hustle in prison? My hustle in prison was legal work. I was pretty well educated before I went to prison. Was a straight A student. Three classes away from getting my AA. So I was pretty studious when it came to doing homework and stuff like that. So I stayed in the law library and I made money typing up motions for guys and helping guys petition the court for different things. Everything from a 2255, which is an appeal, to doing traffic violations and things of that nature. I had somebody right here that said, do they have cell phones in prison? Yeah, they got cell phones. If you got a plug with a guard and you're tied in and you're cool, you don't run your mouth, dudes is in there slanging cell phones making money. So cell phones is big business. There's ways to charge them now. There's dudes are switching out batteries. There's a lot of cell phone hustle going on, especially in the lower level prisons, even in the high level. I mean, if you're somebody who got pool, you can get a cell phone. Can you get other people who are also doing good like you after their bid? Yeah, well, most of the guys on our site, www.FreshOutSeries.com, are guys who have accomplished positive things in their life. Got jobs. They're chefs, bodybuilders, Cali Muscle. Guys who are running their own businesses. Larry's got KO Gym in Ventura. There's a lot of guys doing good things. So there's people out there who are doing positive after they've done time. Not everybody is out here, fucking up, doing things to get themselves put back in prison. Is there sharing needles between races? Nah, ain't no sharing needles between races. If you got dudes sharing needles among themselves who are shooting up dope, and there's a lot of that going on, but I've never seen races share needles or nothing like that. What is the craziest thing you've heard about someone stashing, if you get my drift? There's some guys I know that worked in medical that used to keister needles, syringes. I mean, they would tuck them up in there in a little container and push them in their butt, man. After they, whether they've been used or not, they would get them and then try to clean them and use them to shoot slam dope. So, it's rough, but dudes would actually keister needles to slam dope with, getting them out of the medical. So that's, pretty raw with it, and of course guys are keister dope and things like that, but syringes was the biggest thing I've heard of as far as that's pretty raw with it. As lucrative as the adult industry was back in the days you were in, would you consider getting back into business behind the scenes? The game has changed a lot, the adult industry is, because of internet and free stuff and then all the regulations now, the money is, it's not like it was back in the day. And a lot of the, big companies now have gotten into other things. I mean, if you combine that with maybe an app or you're doing maybe major distribution, which the hotels now are the big distributor of adult films, you could probably make some money. But as far as just acting in the movies and just filming, you can survive. But as far as getting rich, the likelihood I don't think is very high because it's just too much free stuff out there. You would have to really be on some major distribution time. What up, Big Herc? Have you ever seen the female guards getting bent over? I've never personally seen them get bent over, but I know they are getting bent over. I have some North Daniel homies up in there that were bending over a few females that worked at a particular institution. And I know of another homie who was banging a guard at another institution. So I know they do get down like that. And I know there's some females at another spot that were slanging coochie, making a lot of money. And so it does go down. And, dudes is in there balling. They'll pay for it. And the female guards, I mean, for them, shit, a quick little, there's blind spots, so there's time to get down and get in and get out real quick. Most of these guys ain't taking too long anyways. I know some people, black and white, that ran other car because of their gang affiliation. Have you seen it personally, and how was it? Mixed race, I mean, it just kind of depends on who you kicking it with. I got white homies that are straight crippin', straight been to the state, about their business, you know what I'm saying? They was up in there riding. I got, some white homies that were North Daniels, you know what I'm saying? So it's all about how you carry yourself, man. If you about your business and, you demand a certain level of respect, then, people are going to respect you. So race is kind of like it's relative to who you are as an individual. Are there any multiracial gangs? Yeah. North Daniels got, blacks, whites, Mexicans. Like I said, I had white Crip homeboys that was about their business. I've seen Mexican Crips. It's just a mixture up in there. It's like I said, it depends on where you're at and what you were about on the street, and people respect you for that. But if you go up in there, you're on some buster time, you're gonna get your wig split. Have you ran into anybody from the past that tried you lately? No, I ain't been tried, man. I actually had to catch myself a couple times because there was some situation where I wanted to bust somebody upside the head, but I had to think about what I had to risk if I got caught or if this person told on me. Because, back in the day, I wouldn't even thought about that. I would have just busted your head and worry about that later. But I had to change up that mentality so that I didn't put myself in a position where I lost everything I worked for. So, I try to avoid those kind of situations. Somebody said something stupid. I'm not even going to address that. Were you in a prison gang? No, I wasn't in a prison gang. I didn't. I did legal work, and I was able to, use that as my hustle and kind of stay out the way. What part of California am I from? I'm from Sacramento, North Highlands to be exact. That's my hood. That's where I was born and raised, pretty much. Are there guys in there for nonviolent crimes like DUIs that's not gang violated? And how do they protect themselves from the gang rapes and predators? DUI, you're in the state. If you're in the state, it's a totally different game. If you're, in the state, you got to bring your paperwork out. It's a lot more political. Dudes is pressing the line a little bit more. And it's just it's a totally different mentality. So in the state, if you got a DUI, and hopefully you just do county time. But a lot of times it's you got to deal with a totally different situation than what you would deal with in the feds. Because, like I said, the feds is, money-based crimes, interstate commerce, so it's a little bit different mentality in the feds than what you have in the state. What's my next car project? I have a 928. I'm hooking up with a 383 stroker. That's being, fixed up right now. I also got a 94 NSX I'm doing a twin turbo kit on. So those are the two projects I'm going to be working on. Is there any Irish or European gangs in the prisons? Irish or European gangs? I haven't ran across any. I mean, as far as European, you got the mob up in there. You got dudes who are clicked up, as far as, East Coast. But on the West Coast, a lot of any guys, like Italian guys I've run across on the West Coast is because they were basically making major moves on the East Coast and they put them all the way out here to kind of break down their power structure. So I haven't really, associated with any guys directly, in any European or Irish gangs while I was on the West Coast. I never went to the East Coast in the time. You got any badass new project cars on deck? Yeah, just the NSX and the Porsche 928, and I'm waiting to get my Chevelle back. What food do you eat to get yoked in prison? Man, most of this good food that I had with my homies was food we got, we bought from the kitchen that guys would steal and bring to us. If they had a good meal, steak or chicken, I would usually pay, one of the little guys to run the food out. A lot of times it'd be the Pisces, they steal food and I buy it from them, and then me and the homies would just, cook up a meal or something like that. But ate a lot of oatmeal, peanut butter, powdered milk, and then we bust the prison spreads. Can you shout out to JJ? This is birthday, my son. Yeah, shout out to JJ, man. Happy birthday, little homie. And like I said, if you tell your family and friends to subscribe to Fresh Out Life After Penitentiary on YouTube, and to also support our Twitter and our Instagram, which is FreshOutSeries. Did you stick anybody in there? Nah, I didn't have to stick nobody. Had to slap the shit out of somebody, but didn't have to stick anybody. What are your thoughts on a 72 Chevelle 454? I got a LQ9 in mind, but a 454. If you bore it out, throw a supercharger on it with an EFI setup, you can get about 700 horsepower. That thing will be running. Did a SEAL ever extort any inmate? I was up in there with a cat who was involved with one of the biggest, actually money heists in the country. They got away with over, I want to say close to 20 million. And they actually made a movie about it called Mastermind, but they made it into almost like a satire. But anyways, he personally, his cut I think was like 3 million and some change. And he used to tell me that the guard would come by his cell at night and ask him for, to try to press him for money and basically, kind of fuck with him. So, he did have a couple run-ins with guards, and they would actually, every now and then run him from the prison back to the court to try to get him to tell where the money is at in exchange for reduced sentence. And he never gave it up though. I have a relationship question. How long do you recommend a man wait until after he has been released from prison on parole before starting a new relationship? Hey man, get your wee wet as soon as you get out. Ain't no need to wait for a relationship. I mean, I was at the halfway house on a old BlackBerry, and I was trying to make it happen, man. I was on all them little hookup sites, man. That was one of my main objectives, is to make sure I could ride the bike again. So, who you slapping? Why? There's a cat just being disrespectful, man. You got these dudes who talk real slick, man, around their homeboys, but then they don't want to, see you one-on-one. So a lot of times they're in group settings, and then they, they're protected. So I caught his ass up in the cell by himself and said, what's happening? And he tried to, look all funny style. So I just slapped the shit out of him. And that was it. Have you ever been outside the United States? Yeah, I've been to Mexico and Japan, so I traveled a little bit. Want to do more traveling here in the near future. Have somebody else, Big Hurt. Can you get your homie to show us how to make gourmet prison style chi-chi? I'll ask Big V. He's been kind of busy with the holidays and stuff. Shout out to Big V, Chef Big V. Hopefully we can get him to come back and do some prison spreads. He was the cook, man. Me and him, we did quite a few years together. He was like my brother. And have a lot of respect for him, and we used to make some hell of a dishes, man. So, V, I'm gonna hopefully get him back in here, and we'll put some videos for you guys together. Yeah, we're gonna be doing hopefully more podcasts here in the near future under Fresh Out Series, and we're gonna try to run a live stream at least once a week. Open the door up for more questioning and more opportunities to interact with the fans. And like I said, I love you guys. Thanks for supporting us. Really appreciate all your comments, positive, what I'm saying? And, the guys who are trolling, much love to you too, because I know you ain't got nothing else to do but to, watch the video and probably touch yourself. How much do you currently weigh? I'm about 260. How often do you work out each day? Did you do it every day? How'd you get big doing body weight? Well, I worked out before I went to prison. I was in shape. I was probably like 230, 235 ripped. You know what I'm saying? I was always about my athletics and my workouts. I've been working out since I was 14, so I never really got into partying or drugs, anything like that. So working out was my thing. So I just, I stayed in, we used to work and do body weight push-ups and book bag workouts and stuff like that, water bag workouts, and just to try to stay in shape. So I used to work out probably 6 days a week and for, roughly 2 hours a day. What's my favorite gun? I don't want to talk about those, man. Every time I touch a gun, I put in work. So I don't even try to look at a gun nowadays. A lot of dudes want to go on the internet and shoot guns and all this shit. Y'all wouldn't bust on a motherfucking individual. You shooting at old target. And the whole thing about that is, it's like I try to avoid that type of violent, those type of situations. Gun, okay, of course, protect yourself, but I try to not really mess with them. But a Tech 9 is always good. Did they have weights or bars in the prison you were at? They had this when I went to Long Park when I first got locked up, they had machine weights. So we fuck with the machine weights and do a lot of bar work. At Sheridan, when I got there, they did have the weights for a while, but then they took the weights away. That was the medium. And then when I went to Hurlong, it was all bar work. And then, we lift like book bags. Let me see. Oh yeah, it says somebody right here said, what year did you get out? Did you go to prison, and what year did you get out? I went to prison in 2000, and I got out 2008 October. So I did roughly 8 years, 8 months. What was the worst prison I was in, and why? The worst prison, shit, was probably Sheridan. Sheridan initially was cool. The medium, they had the weights, they had a hell of a music program. They put on concerts. But then we had this shitty ass warden come from Marion, Cole. What do you call it? Uncle Tom. He took the weights. He would do like this random terrorizing on the prison yard with guards with masks on and these movements and shit. He was a piece of shit. That was probably the worst situation. Can anyone work in the kitchen in prison, and can you eat extra meals when working in the kitchen? Yeah, usually they assign you to the kitchen. Kitchen is a kind of a hell of a job though, because they wake you up early up in the morning and you work fucking 8 hours, and it's just a lot of bullshit and it's a lot of politics in the kitchen. You get in there and there's groups of people running the kitchen already, so you got to put up with a lot of bullshit. I never want to work the kitchen. I try to get out of there ASAP. Big Herc, what did the prison do if you had injuries in prison? If you got lifting injury, did they ever cover surgery? I did. Well, I actually messed up my tricep while I was in there, and they rushed me to the hospital. I was at the hospital within an hour. I went and got an MRI, and basically they put my arm in a little in a sling. So they, I was taken pretty good care of, but I used to push that pin real tough. So being that I was a legal beagle, I had a certain level of respect. Did you ever work in prison to pass your time? I had, like I said, the job I took usually was a job that had minimum work detail. When I did work in the kitchen, I had a hook up through one of the homies that I was work maybe on once a week on a Saturday, and other than that, I did legal work. I made my money helping people out file motions and stuff like that. No, I didn't get my cheeks busted. After a fist fight in prison, is the beef done? It kind of depends on who the individual is. Sometimes dudes get into it and they squash it after that. I seen a dude get sucker punched and dude kind of got off on him, caught him by surprise. He let a couple weeks go by. The big homie June, and when everything was cleared, he put hands on the other dude and basically sent him to the hospital. So it just kind of depends on the situation and who the person is. What is the suicide rate in prison? I was at a USP, man, with dudes doing, a lot of dudes had 20 years, life, and they wouldn't commit suicide. Not like that. Life dudes, they always believe that there's an opportunity to get, to be free or to get their case overturned, and they're not cut like that, man. These are some strong-willed individuals, so a lot of them aren't just jumping off the tier or cutting their wrists. Did you ever go to college? Yeah, I went to junior college. Did a couple years at Santa Rosa College in the Bay, and went to college in Sacramento. I dropped out to sell weed. You know what I'm saying? Got caught up in the weed game. Best car I ever owned, probably my NSX. That's my favorite. That and my Chevelle. Have I ever met anyone famous in prison? I wouldn't say famous. Just probably I met some big gangsters. I was at Rampart USP with Carmine the Snake Persico. He's an OG, cool old dude. You know what I'm saying? Up in there, and I'm running across some really major drug dealers. But just passing, man. Just mild conversation. What's up? No, I didn't get my wig split in prison for disrespecting any guards. I usually had respect from the guards because I did legal work, and so they didn't really fuck with me like that. But I want to bring, like I said, this live stream to you guys at least once a week. So have your questions ready, and hopefully we'll have a podcast for you guys real soon. Like I said, subscribe to our channel. Tell your friends and family to subscribe. Fresh Out Life After Penitentiary on YouTube. Fresh Out Series on Twitter and Instagram. And look for our podcast, which will be Fresh Out Series. And, just keep supporting, man. I give props to everybody who's been out there, supporting our channel. And much love to the fans. And we look forward to hearing from you guys. I'll be back after Christmas with another live stream for you guys. And also, we'll have some nice interviews coming up for you guys. We got some OGs coming on board that are going to be sharing their experiences with prison and giving you guys some good feedback. All right, you guys. Much love. Happy holidays. FreshOutSeries.com. Check us out. Much love.